Almost exactly 50 years after the release of the original Exorcist, the franchise has reawakened with Believer. What have the filmmakers been compelled to say in this highly anticipated requel? Let's dig in. Warning, spoilers ahead. Although Leslie Odom Jr.'s Victor has constructed a happy life for his daughter Angela as a single father, there are some things he can't shield Angela from, namely the past trauma of Victor losing his wife, who died during an earthquake in Haiti while she was pregnant with Angela. Although Victor had the choice to save her, we're led to believe that he chose to save Angela since he couldn't save them both. Even though Angela has never met her mother, she still yearns to feel her presence.
I wanted to talk to Mom. Sometimes I hear her voice.
So, Angela and her friend Catherine attempt to summon her through a ritual, after which they end up going missing for a few days. When they are eventually found, they have no memory of their time away and start to display disturbing behavior that causes their parents to believe that they've become possessed. Victor attempts to recruit Chris McNeil, played once again by Ellen Burstyn, to help them. Chris hasn't seen her daughter in years. Victor's recruitment effort only leads to Catherine stabbing Chris's eyes out. With few options remaining and the Catholic Church not wanting to step in, Victor and Catherine's parents decide to perform the exorcism themselves with the help of the community. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned, and horrifying truths are unearthed. As the group tries to rid the girls of the demon, it seems like nothing is working. They can't seem to do anything powerful enough to weaken the demon, and even when Father Maddox walks in to assist the group, it only results in him being quickly killed. Eventually, the demon presents the group with a choice to save just one of the girls and reveals the truth behind Victor's choice between his wife and Angela. It turns out that Victor actually chose to save his wife instead of Angela, but through either a protection spell put on Angela while she was in the womb or a cruel twist of fate, his wife is the one who died instead. So he never actually chose to keep Angela, and the demon says,
"God played a trick on you."
In the choice between Angela or Catherine, both Victor and Catherine's mother decide that they won't choose. Unfortunately, Catherine's father screams that he wants to save Catherine. While it seems like his wish will be granted, the devil plays another trick on them. Catherine dies, and her soul is dragged into hell by demons, while Angela is set free. The film ends on a monologue by Ann Dowd's former nun, Anne, about the importance of belief, as scenes of everyone's life after the exorcism are shown. The Exorcist Believer depicts waning belief and faith as its major theme, which isn't uncommon for this franchise. Similar to how the original had these thematic elements through Jason Miller's Father Damien, these elements are seen in Victor's personal arc. Because of what happened to his wife, Victor lost his sense of faith in God and everything spiritual. However, instead of the film simply trying to restore his sense of faith as its central thematic thread, it defines what faith and the power of belief really mean, largely through Anne and her final monologue. Anne's monologue delivers a modern perspective on faith that sees her discuss what the devil is really after in people. Rather than wanting to simply extinguish the happiness and joy, the devil seeks to have people give up hope. Based on her own life of being cast out for having an abortion while she was becoming a nun, Anne comes to realize that she and others simply need to remain faithful to truly rise above evil. It's a message that's pretty relevant considering the chaos and hatred we see in modern society, and fits well with her stepping into a greater role she never thought possible for herself during the exorcism. The others learn this too in their own ways after the exorcism. Aside from the obvious impact of Catherine dying and being pulled into hell, there are a lot of lasting emotional and physical ramifications that come from the film's final exorcism sequence. Catherine's parents now will likely feel a sense of regret and remorse for not saving their daughter, but they do show signs working toward being in a better place. Although the emotion of that loss is surely crushing and will have a lasting impact on their family, Catherine's parents look like they're trying to find a way to stay whole. While Catherine's father is initially sitting alone looking defeated in a diner, there's a sense of hope that comes alongside the arrival of Catherine's mother. As for Victor and Anne, their faith is restored and mended. Victor now knows that the supernatural, both good and bad, exist. He visits his wife's tombstone to reconnect with the past he's tried to leave behind. Now he and Angela can talk freely about it and move forward together. Plus, it seems like Angela can start anew following this incident, but still misses Catherine. Anne now has a new perspective on herself and what her faith can achieve. Maybe this leads to her trying to be a nun again, potentially leading her to spearhead the franchise in future installments. Chris is sidelined shortly after her eyes are stabbed out by a possessed Catherine, but the film doesn't forget to conclude her arc. When Victor first meets Chris, she's still harboring resentment for the falling out she had with her daughter. After Chris published a book about the experience of Reagan being possessed, Reagan decided not to speak to her again. Now, Chris has no idea where she's been after all this time. When fighting the demon, Chris is told,
"Are you looking for Reagan? She burns in hell!"
But she obviously doesn't believe what the demon tells her. At the end, Reagan visits Chris in the hospital, and the two share a tearful reunion that fans will love, especially since Linda Blair reprises her role as Reagan. The bigger question, though, is what this will mean for the franchise. Will the sequels have Chris and Reagan return to be a bigger part of the story? Will they play a larger role in discovering the deeper truth about the demon? The door is certainly open, and their continued presence in this new era of The Exorcist could help connect these new films to the original much better. The reunion between Chris and Reagan is something that fans will love, but could also be hinting at their bigger impact in the franchise's future installments. The protective ritual performed on Angela while she's in the womb at the start of the film might seem incidental or just a way for the film to elicit those spiritual vibes, but it potentially plays a major role in the film's finale. When the demon attempts to kill Angela as part of the deal made, the entity is unsuccessful. Angela's heart does stop beating for a bit, but the demon eventually transfers to Catherine to kill her instead, and Angela ends up living.
One girl lives, one girl dies.
This is once again explained as the devil playing a trick on everyone, but maybe that's a ruse. Perhaps the real reason the demon couldn't kill Angela is because of that protective spell. The idea of the spell was to protect her from evil, so it would make sense and be a fitting answer for why the demon would be unable to go through with killing Angela on 2 different occasions. That does, however, raise the question of why the spell didn't protect Angela from being possessed in the first place. Maybe that will be something that later films explain more, or maybe it won't. Maybe the spell only protects her from death. For now, it's worth questioning the role the protective spell on Angela plays in her life, and maybe it'll eventually be seen as a key to defeating the demon once and for all. Whether or not Angela's protective spell played a role in her being saved in the finale, the demon is definitely very powerful and very tricky. Not only is it incredibly manipulative in the ways it compels people to believe its lies, sometimes by mimicking the voice and feelings of who it's controlling, but its supernatural powers can also cause unspeakable horrors.
I don't want to go to hell.
The demon's ability to trick people with fake deals is easily its most gut-wrenching and psychologically destructive power. The way it toys with expectations and makes victims feel like they've earned a sort of victory, only to cut them down in the next moment, is devastating. Even worse, none of the techniques used in the exorcism seemed to slow it down at all. Frankly, it only seems to become more powerful and confident over time. So it's worth wondering how or if this demonic force can be destroyed. This question will likely be something the sequels try to answer when it inevitably returns to possess someone else and the characters search for answers. Now though, this demon seems unstoppable and presents quite the tricky devil to defeat. As she defines the power of faith and belief in the film's finale, Anne also talks about the power and impact people within the church have if they keep continual faith. In a conversation with Victor, Anne talks about how the presence of people in the church is what helps her and others believe in a presence outside of themselves. Because people come back and search for help in the church after the worst tragedies imaginable, it reminds her how strong the faith of the community is. People are truly the backbone of the church. It's their unity that allows her and others to persevere through tough times and help others through turmoil. It's a very powerful and intriguing perspective on the impact that people going to church has on the communal faith. It's also one that's tough to argue. Anne even admits that they don't know what's completely true or not, nor can they predict what's to come. But as long as they all come to church, she and others know that they're not alone, and it strengthens their sense of belief. The Exorcist believer delivers a lot of modern perspective on faith and the church through Anne. It's ultimately this view that helps restore Victor's faith. Like director David Gordon Green's Halloween movies, The Exorcist believer has a lot to say about community, as Catherine's parents and Victor are aided by those around them in the finale. While you might think the Catholic Church would step in to help Catherine and Angela, the church rejects the opportunity. So, just as the exorcism is about to start, it seems like they're without help. Yet, close neighbors and allies come to their aid and put their lives on the line to help 2 families in need. Throughout the film, there are subtle interactions and storylines that emphasize that sense of community and mutual aid no matter what. The finale is where viewers really see that all come together as Victor's neighbors volunteer to help them save Catherine and Angela. It genuinely shows what being a tight-knit community really means. Even though we don't get to know some of these side characters who help in the finale, the depiction of community is where the film's heart lies, and is a big reason the finale packs an emotional punch. While fans would typically debate whether sequels were in the works after a requel like this, we already know that Believer is just the beginning of a new phase of the Exorcist franchise. Although the film's ending doesn't hint at a clear direction for the next film, director David Gordon Green has already started talking vaguely about the next couple films and what will ultimately amount to a trilogy, if all goes well at the box office. In an interview with Collider, he said that there are many directions he and his team are exploring right now. The idea is, we built a roadmap that I think has so many different avenues that we could take. The world of exorcism and possession is so vast. As the movie finds itself existing in the world over the next few weeks, I think a lot of those questions will be answered. All we know for sure right now is that there's a sequel to Believer currently titled Deceiver, set to hit theaters in 2025.